The Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, indicated millions upon millions of Americans would be receiving checks in the amount of between $1,000 and $2,000 in the first quarter of next year, 2026. Meanwhile, the National Economic Advisor, Kevin Hassett, also indicated the other day that millions upon millions of Americans would be receiving checks between the amounts of $1,600 and $2,000 again in the first quarter of next year, 2026. I'm going to explain all the details for you here in this video, what this is all about, what they are referring to, as well as something else I want to point out that I think we certainly need to take note of with these dollar amounts that they're throwing around. And I do also have this article right here, which I will pop up on the screen in just a second so you can see and read for yourself exactly what they're talking about right here in this article. I'll talk through all the details for you. Okay, this is interesting because if you've noticed lately, a lot of dollar amounts have been thrown around lately out of all of these talking heads out of the administration, right? A lot of $1,000, $1,500, $1,600, $2,000. And again, all of these. It's like a big grab bag, right? Just reach your hand in and just grab a bundle of cash. Wouldn't that be really nice for everybody? I don't know. That'd be super nice for everybody. But unfortunately, it's not really going to be quite that way. Now, I want to talk about the details of what is highlighted here in this article, what they're talking about with this money that'll likely be distributed here in just the next couple months. But then also I want to point something else out that I think we need to pay very, very close attention to in regards to these dollar amounts they're throwing around, because I do think there's a little bit of a strategy behind what they're doing here, and I want to bring it to your attention. All right, let's pop this article up right here, right now. Let's talk through the details of this really, really quickly, and then I want to point out that little bit of a suspicion that I have that I just want to bring to your attention. Okay, as you can see here in the article, Treasury Secretary and also Kevin Hassett, along with Scott Bessent, these two individuals within the administration are indicating because of the OBBB, the big reconciliation bill, the tax cut bill that was signed into law back on the 4th of July, is likely going to yield between $1,000 and $2,000 roughly between, the statements out of these two guys here. For millions and millions of people, when they go to file their tax return, they're indicating that this is going to yield an extra $100 to $150 billion of tax refunds on the federal level. This isn't the state level, on the federal level, for millions and millions of people getting all of that money. And honestly, if that's the case, that's going to be a lot of happy people, because not only is it going to be more money, but I mean, this is going to be above and beyond what these individuals typically are going to be seeing from their refunds. So it's already been suspected that we're going to see the biggest refunds in the history of this country on average in 2026 on the behalf of the 2025 tax filing year. Okay. All right. So anyway, I want to point that out. And again, that's that article. I think it kind of self-explanatory when people go to file their taxes and they take into consideration the tax cuts out of the OBBB that, again, signed into law on the 4th of July and all the effects of that. And they take those extra deductions and whatever else they can take advantage of, like the advanced child tax credit payment or the higher payment there, as well as the increased SALT deduction. There's a whole bunch of them there, okay? But anyway, that's going to yield an extra $1,000 to $2,000. Okay, easy enough. You understand that. Okay, now let's talk about the other point here that I want to make, just bring to your attention really quickly, because this is something I think we need to pay attention to and just keep it on our radar a little bit. Notice the dollar amounts that they're mentioning here. Again, Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary, between $1,000 and $2,000. Kevin Hassett, National Economic Advisor, indicating between $1,600 and $2,000 extra money because of the tax advantages when people go to file. Okay, great. Here's just what I want to point out. We've got the president who continues to come out saying they're going to send out this tariff-induced rebate dividend distribution check, stimulus check, okay? That, according to what they tell us, is completely separate from what Scott Bessent and what Kevin Hassett are talking about here, okay? They continue to tell us it's going to be a totally separate thing, a dividend payment, a distribution, a stimulus, a rebate, whatever you want to call it, sometime in 2026. Now, what these two guys are talking about is basically refunds on the filing of a federal tax return. Okay, but here is the key point that I want to mention to you. just keep it on your radar a little bit. These guys may be setting the stage for a massive backpedal on the $2,000 stimulus check or the $2,000 dividend payment. Okay? That's why I said notice the dollar amounts that they're saying between $1,000 and $2,000. They may, if they cannot pull off the $2,000 stimulus check, they may backpedal into this and say, look, we were just talking about extra tax refunds. Duh. Didn't everybody know that already? Come on. This is exactly what we were talking about the whole time. We never said it was going to be a dividend distribution. We never said it was going to be a rebate check. We never said it was going to be a stimulus check. We said it was going to be an extra tax refund on your tax return when you go to file. That's what we were talking about the whole time. Come on, guys. Didn't you notice this? We've been saying it. Okay, obviously I'm kind of like mocking them a little bit, but my point being is that if they can't pull off the $2,000 stimulus check at some point here, whenever they decide to do this whole thing, if they can't pull it off, I would not be shocked one bit if they back into this and backpedal their way back into it's a tax refund. It was a tax deduction. We told ya. Come on. This is what we've been talking about this whole time. Okay, so I'm just saying, just be prepared. Keep this on your radar. I think these guys are very, very carefully curating these numbers and saying these dollar amounts very, very specifically just as backup. Okay, I'm just making a point here, just as backup. Now, I'm not saying that the $2,000 dividend distribution, rebate, or stimulus isn't going to happen. I'm not going to say that it is happening either. I don't know. It seems like nobody knows if it's going to happen or not. I'm just saying, if it does not happen, just be prepared, because they will 100% backpedal to this and be like, it was just the tax refund. That's it. That's all we were talking about the whole time. Just trust us. Come on, guys. When clearly, they've said very clearly, maybe not these guys specifically, but the president has said very, very, very clearly that it's going to be a dividend distribution check. He has not indicated that it's going to be an extra tax refund. Okay? So my point being is that these guys are making it sound like it's going to be an extra tax refund, okay? But yet the president still makes it very clear it's going to be a dividend, a distribution from tariff revenues. Two totally different things. Okay, so let's look at that really fast then. If both of these actually happen, as in the average person gets an extra $1,000 to $2,000 of a tax refund on their federal tax return, plus they get a $2,000 dividend payment, that person's looking at between $3,000 and $4,000 of extra cash in 2026 just because of this. It's a lot of extra money. I'm not sure about you. Would an extra $3,000 to $4,000 change your life in 2026? I think for most people it would, right? That'd be massive for a lot of people. I'm just saying, just making some little points here. Just take a couple little notes on this. Let's revisit this as we get more information over the coming days, weeks, and months here. I will certainly keep you posted. I am not saying that the $2,000 is not happening, but I'm also not saying that it is happening. I don't know. Nobody knows. That's my point, is that we just need to continue to watch this every single day, see what comes out of this, and just take it day by day.